Hello and welcome to the second heat of Series 1 of Slash Dupe, the mysterious movie pitching podcast with a twist. You should know what happens by now. In today's episode, we'll be pitting the winning ideas from 6 of our previous episodes against each other in a showdown to find out which one idea goes straight into the finals that will take place at the end of the season. Ryan and Dan are with me. Ryan, explain to me, and this isn't a segue, I genuinely forget, how season 1 of Slash Dupe works in 10 words or less.
So true. In 10 words or less. Okay. 4 heats, 6 winners, 2 wild cards.
It's one word.
Battle
wild cards.
For victory. There you go.
That's good. See? We were worried about it getting wordy, but that was good, Ryan. Yeah, thanks, mate.
Cool.
And Dan, what happens at the end of the season?
I'm not sure I understood it, but
yeah, I know.
10 words.
I didn't want to say.
And at the end of the year, there can be only one. We'll whittle it down to our final winner, and we are going to somehow make a trailer of that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here. What are you going to say, Dan?
So, God help us is all I can say.
All winners are actually losers.
Losers.
Thanks, gents. I'm Sean. I'm usually the host and moderator. But today I join the ranks of the robbed and the rest as I pitch alongside my comrades. To help us crown a winner, we're doing things a little differently in this episode. Our adjudicator, or rather adjudicators, for this heat are Rosie Pearson and James Pearson. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. You're the first team of adjudicators the first team that we've had on as adjudicators of Slash Dupe. Do you think that will affect your decision making in any way?
You can answer that.
I think we're quite good at making decisions together. I think we're normally aligned, and if we disagree, basically what I say goes. So that should work out.
They're a really good team because Rosie chooses and James says yes.
There was already instant deference, wasn't there, from James to Rosie?
No, I nod. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I wish that were true.
Well, certainly, we will have differences, but I think our differences will align in wanting the same result.
Mm.
That's called diplomacy.
And I suppose that comes from the two of you founded and you run Pearson Casting together. So you read a lot of scripts. I imagine you digest a lot of ideas. What sort of approaches do you have when you what approaches do you have to take when you read a script? And do you think that will help you whittle down our pitches today?
Yeah, I mean, I normally start with the script read when it gets sent. I don't know why that is. It's not for any other reason than that's just the way we've always done it. So I've done a bit of writing in the past as well, and then I will just make my notes on it and come down and say, I think this is awesome. You should read this. I think I'm unsure about this, and that please read this, or you don't need to read this. But I think that's kind of how it goes.
But creatively, it has to have something that excites you, that you would want to go and see it, or that you can see it being not necessarily a commercial success, but you see why it might be popular or successful. And then obviously we look at it from a casting perspective and go, what's realistic, what's exciting, where are the challenges, and kind of go from there.
Exactly. And I think that the thing with the work that we do that's come from script reading specifically, so the short film work we've done and so on, and plays and musicals, we're both excited by it. I don't think there's any projects that we've done that we haven't both been excited about. So that's important, isn't it? That
obviously I know the Pearsons before this episode. I'm very privileged to be able to call them my friends and have had the honour of working with them and basically watching them become the titans that they are in this day and age. And I use that word absolutely truthfully and not lightly at all. Anything they've created over the last 10 years that I've known them has been an utter success, and anything that hasn't been an utter success, they've swept under the carpet so successfully you wouldn't know. And that really is that's the
mark of talent, isn't it?
That's the mark of success, I believe. Rosie and James are just utterly brilliant. They've got their casting directors for both over here and America, which is how common is that, Pearsons?
I think it's quite common in film and TV world. We're part of the Casting Society of America, and we do these, which is really awesome, these hangouts with American casting directors in LA and New York, and that we've been doing those throughout the lockdown. And some of them are doing stuff over here, and so forth. I think it's fairly common in the TV and film world, not so much in theatre, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think that's the thing. I think that it's
they're two very different worlds, aren't they, in the way that they function as well, even if they are outputting the same kind of thing in the way that American casting and British casting happens. Is that true? Is that
there are some sort of fundamental differences between, I think, approaching the process of being in the room, certainly from an American to a British team. I mean, the bottom line is we're all just looking for great talent, but there are different approaches, definitely, particularly in casting theatre, and there are a lot more of them in America. Yes. It's a massive market. So yeah.
True.
Big country.
And most importantly, recently, they've created the Collective Creative Initiative. Is that correct? That is correct.
It is, yes. We didn't realise when we created it, we didn't think about the email address, and we did it all through a company where you just buy it, you buy the website, buy the thing. So it's connect@collectivecreativeinitiative.co.uk, and I always think, what were we thinking?
We weren't.
We weren't. It was the longest email ever.
And how many words can be spelt incorrectly all the way through?
Initiative.
But it's an online, free at the point of access sort of set of seminars, classes, Q&As, everything in any facet of the creative industry, which has been given out for free by them to anyone that wants it. It is still a YouTube channel, I believe. Yep. By the time this goes out, it would have finished, sadly, a week ago. But some of the videos will still be up at least for a bit, won't they?
Yep.
Yeah, so all the Q&As from the beginning are still on there. So industry chats with directors, choreographers, producers, agents, actors, and some of the wellness and wellbeing Q&As will be up. And then each video stays up for a month. So every day you'll lose more, but up until December 31st, there will be content to access,
There's a really awesome mindfulness vocal meditation video that's probably floating around there too.
I think we deleted that, actually.
probably best.
Was it voiced by Dan de Cruz?
It was voiced by like Donk de Cronks, I think. Donk de Cronks, that's right.
It was brilliant, the stuff you did.
Yeah,
it was really fabulous.
It was very calming to be doing it every Monday. So they're just all in all amazing people and really nice too. Very nice to share a glass of something at the end of the day after a long day's auditions. Milk. So wonderful. Milk.
Water.
Milk, yes.
Well, we're privileged and honoured to have you on and carving some time out during the second lockdown. Currently in the second lockdown in the UK, in England. I was corrected recently. It's not the UK, it's England is in the second lockdown.
Yep.
So no, we're really grateful to have you guys on. So thanks for that. So we'll follow tradition for this, and we'll go alphabetically to pitch to you the Pearsons.
We've done it once. So
yes.
It's now tradition.
Yeah.
I just think that if someone's listening to this episode and they go, wow, these guys sound elite, I'll go back and listen to their seasons and seasons worth of information. I'm just making it sound like we've already been prolific. As is tradition for us, we'll start with Dan. And he'll draw a title of one of our winning films randomly out of the digital hat. He will then have, and I've written 2 minutes down here, but I was corrected that it's only 1 minute to pitch his idea. The idea he was given to Rosie and James, mostly from memory, and hopefully we'll be extracting the key elements that made us fall in love with it in the first place. Ryan will follow this and repeat that, and then I will follow after that.
So Ryan, will be timekeeping. I also have, because of social distancing, we don't actually have a hat we can pull out of. So, like the first episode, I've got a random wheel with all of the episodes 7 to 12 loaded into it. I will spin that wheel. I will tell Dan which episode he's got, and then he can go away with that one.
Yeah, and now we're a professional outfit, but last time you made a weird noise that when the spinning wheel went on, and then we dubbed it over all of the other times that you did it. So what noise are you going to give to us today? Is it a surprise?
Is this you asking me to make the noise every time, or are you going to just cut it out like you did last time?
I just like to be surprised sometimes, like we were discussing.
I definitely put it in afterwards. Definitely. Maybe we should get James and Rosie to come up with a noise for the spinning wheel.
I'll make a noise.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
James likes this kind of challenge.
I'll make a noise.
Okay.
When we are pitching this stuff, Pearson castings, do you have an idea of a scenario about where we might be pitching this to you?
Oh, what do you reckon? After a viewing of an opening night or something like that.
Yeah, they're press night.
Press night or a
cornered
film.
by the Canapés.
Yeah, cornered by the Canapés. Let's call it cornered by the Canapés.
That's the post colon thing, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? I'm writing it down now.
Adjudicator 2 cornered by the Canapés.
Yeah, that's a fantastic. Yeah, that's a great idea. So we'll whittle down. So you'll help us whittle down these 6 ideas to 2 in our canapé corner, and then we will, and then you'll be able to adjudicate on the final 2 episodes to pick your winner for today's episode. Okay, Ryan, so we've got Dan up first, so please spin the wheel.
All right, James, start making your noise now.
And cats and kits 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 and...
Dan, very good. I love that. Dan, you have episode 11, Dogs of Law.
Dogs of Law. Nice. Do I read out the logline?
Yeah, so we were discussing this earlier. So we previously, I went through, you guys read out the transcript, basically, of what my initial thoughts were for the episodes. Yeah. But they're now too wordy and too awkward to read out. So there is a logline of sorts there that I've tried to cobble together based on my transcript and my recollection. So you're welcome to read out the logline or the transcript as you see fit, and then you'll have your minute-long pitch.
I'll read out the logline synopsis. A black and white film noir detective film set in Hollywood, where dogs investigate a spate of murders of mice. With the mice and rats being the working class of Hollywood, it's got the racial, class and political tensions of film noir of the 40s and 50s, paired with a wonderfully ludicrous notion of cats playing dogs. It's Hot Fuzz meets Bugsy Malone, with a tongue-in-cheek character like the Fat Cat, and a basset hound with a Sherlock Holmes complex. Forget it, Jake. It's walkies time. That was the logline, and
your time starts now.
Oh, sorry. Do you mind if I just get? Oh, you've got to get free while you can, haven't you? Rosie, James, how you doing?
All right.
Nice to see you there.
Hi.
Didn't expect to see you here, actually. I know you like the prawns, so I thought you might be. Listen, me and my mate Maddie. I know it's me and my mate Maddie. Anyway, we write stuff anyway, and I know you.
Andrew Lloyd Webber's over there. So how long is this going to take?
I won't take. I know you're busy. It won't take any more than a minute. And he's actually had the shot, so he's probably all right. But I know we're doing this 2 meters away. So anyway, yeah, me and my friend Maddie, we've Madeline Leslie. I don't know if you know. You might actually. Anyway, we've written this script together. Basically, it's dogs, cats, and mice doing a film noir film,
right?
Basically, so if you think like Bugsy Malone meets all the silent movies. Oh yeah, by the way, it's a silent movie. Just thought I'd let you know. So we're just doing all of that stuff.
Right.
So yeah, the idea is like that. There's these dogs, and they're like the dogs of law. So we got like a lawyer and a detective and a street cop, and they're just finding out about these crimes that are going on in Hollywood, right? And Hollywood's where like all the cat actors, they're the cat actors. They're doing a new dog film. So all these cats dressed as dogs, right? And all the actors are animals. So it's actual animals. So I know obviously you've got quite a lot of, history we've been able to cast animal actors. So I'm really keen to make sure that we've got a diverse, sort of diversity as well. So
this isn't animation.
basically-
It's not animation.
No,
Because-
it's live dogs and cats.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know that's your thing anyway. Live dogs and cats, film noir, Hot Fuzz meets Bugsy Malone. It's a winner, isn't it? Anyway, look, Andrew's giving you the eye, so I'll go. Nice to see you. Bye.
Great.
Brilliant.
Right, roll straight onto the second one, which I believe is me.
Yes.
James, I'll have that sound now, please.
Boing doing, 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 boing doing.
Perfect. We have gone for episode 9, An Honest Woman. So actually, this episode's quite interesting. It was a joint winner between myself and Ollie. However, because he was the guest, I have decided to relinquish my crown, and so I'll only be pitching you Ollie's idea.
It's
but who knows?
irregular for me to have done that, isn't it? But I just couldn't pick between the two ideas. I like them both equally. But because Ryan, being the dupe is difficult, obviously. But being a co-host or a host, I thought we'd give guest precedence. And if there was anything to edge out that 51%, it goes towards Ollie's An Honest Woman.
So I'm going to go the opposite way because I just think the way that Sean describes his transcripts are better than the log lines. So this is how Sean summed up his film, and then I will start my timer. So Aronofsky and Del Toro mixture starts as romance and gives the old Hitchcock bait and switch and takes you from this romance to a gothic allegorical film, taking the man out of the picture and pushing these two women characters to the forefront and dealing with some pretty heady topics, whilst also playing around whether the folklore and monsters and all sorts of weirdness is present in the minds of the characters or in real life.
Okay.
Well, make sure you get a couple of the. Oh, Joseph, Rosie, how are you guys doing?
Good. Yeah, good.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Great to see you guys. So I just recently got chatting to this guy, and he asked me. He was a little too scared to come up and chat to you guys, but I know because we've got history. I thought I'd come and talk about this film. Essentially, it's based off of an old European folk tale about a man and a woman who fall in love. But the woman asks him once the first sunrise, no, not sunrise, what is it? At the first full moon of every month, I have to go away and do something, and I ask that you respectfully don't spy on me in private. So he's like, yeah, okay, cool. So I love you, love. Yeah, that's fine. So he lets that happen. But his sister is proper sneaky. She does not trust her. She thinks she's doing some real horrible stuff. So she starts like following her, creeping after her, and then she starts to see all of this stuff about like folklore, starts to see fairies, things come to her in her dreams. She sees that this woman is like a half a mermaid sort of thing, and then she runs back and tells the brother, and he's like, why did you do that? Like, this is her privacy she's asked for, and I'm respecting that as her husband. And so it's this sort of idea behind, is the woman trying to keep something? Is the sister going crazy? Is she actually seeing some stuff? Is she just, trying to project something that she's not getting? I found it really, really interesting, and there's not enough about European folklore, and you could definitely get, if you've got someone like Del Toro on it, it'd have that wonderful sort of fantastic. Anyway, listen, I'm going to go eat this plate while it's still hot, but you guys enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
The scary thing is, this is exactly the kind of awkward conversation I've had.
All I can think about are those vegan sausage rolls? I really want a vegan sausage roll.
But the listeners won't be able to see this, but Rosie's face is exactly the face she pulls when she's doing the whole, I think I'm listening. I'm projecting that I'm listening.
I love it.
Oh, well, Ryan's idea's out then. That's great.
There is a reason there's not much European folklore.
Well, let us move swiftly on to Sean's pick.
Yes.
James, I will have that sound again now, please.
Ding 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 ding.
Nice. Perfect. Sean, you have episode 10, Knock and Loose.
Oh, okay. I enjoyed this one. I enjoyed them all, obviously. I can't say that. That's skewed it. I'm glad I've got this one to pitch, I suppose. It's okay. I'll just do the logline. Love conquers all in a story that brings the gods down to our level. Similar to taking a celebrity and bringing them down to see them as ordinary people, Knock and Loose has a sort of The Thick of It or The Office vibe. A workplace comedy about the gods of ancient Greece, which is just the absolute perfect mashup that we need in this day and age, referencing social media and influencers and other staples of modern life, while also containing the historical notions of the way of the ancient Greeks versus the Romans, how they saw and utilised their gods. It's got a cool edge to it and a very dark ending, which, by the way, Sean can't remember. I can't remember what that is. I said it at the time, a very dark ending. I don't know what that ending is.
Sean, your time starts now.
Thanks. Rosie, James.
Hi.
Hi, it's good to see you again. I don't know if you remember, we did a podcast about a year ago.
Ryan was just here, actually.
Guys.
Ryan just literally walked away.
Listen, I don't mean to be difficult, but I prefer not to. Things have not gone well between us.
Right.
I haven't seen him for a year. I prefer not to. Let's just park that.
Okay.
Speaking of dark
Definitely try the
endings,
prawns, though, Sean. Sorry for this.
Sorry, Dan. I'll be with you in a moment. So I've got this idea that's been floating around in the office. We've got a script lying around. It needs a few punch-ups, but and there are a few things that have come out recently that have the same sort of vibe. But I think that's why it will work. Now, there's a reason why they keep making films and TV shows about the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans, because they sort of feel like us, but they've got a bit of a sort of a strange vibe about them. They had the Greeks. They founded arguably a lot of and the Romans, a lot of the things we take for granted in the West nowadays. So we wanted to make so it's a script that started as there was a workplace comedy similar to The Office, and then there was a tale of how the Romans they sort of took the ancient Greek gods and they twisted them. So the ancient Greeks believed that their gods existed, but the Romans never did. The Romans always sort of thought that they were almost like celebrities. They sort of used their images to sell things, but they didn't believe in the gods the same way that the Greeks did. So there was this very dry, very, very boring drama, and this kind of unfunny office style comedy. But a few of the writers in the workplace they put it together in the workshop. And we've got a dynamite idea. Basically, it's just those two things together. So, different Greek gods have different social medias that they operate, and the main character revolves around. I'll get to it. Hold on. It's the guy with the arrow.
I think it was Cupid.
Sorry, yes.
The prawns are so good.
Sorry, yes. Cupid. It revolves around Cupid, the guy with the arrow. So the main character is Cupid, and it's a sort of a rom-com in there as well, but Shaun of the Dead. So that's the sort of idea we're going with. Ryan, what's the 1, 2, 3 mean?
That's
means you're now at 3 minutes.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I'm glad I captivated you for so long.
I'm just going to take you guys away. Is that all right? I think Andrew still wants to.
That'd be great, actually.
Great, yeah.
Thanks, really
Lovely to
appreciate
see
it.
you, Sean.
Sean,
Yes.
great to see you. Great to see you. Really
speak
nice.
to you another year.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yep. Bye.
Oh, I've been on the receiving end of so many of those goodbyes.
That'd be great, actually.
Not from us.
I'm in a show recently. You can come along if you want. Yeah, cool. I mean, I've got okay, goodbye. Yeah, nice to see you, Dan.
So yeah, those are our 3 first pitches. So they were the 3 winning ideas from. I hope we've done them a modicum of justice.
Nowhere near justice for any of them.
And if you're listening and you have been slighted, or you feel connected to one of the people or the ideas that have been slighted, then message us, get in contact, because we still have wildcards that come in. We'll discuss this at the break. We still have wildcards that come in at the end of the entire series. So if anything garners enough following, we'll throw it back into the mix because we don't want to be responsible for.
So just to give you Pearsons those titles again, you had Dan pitch you Dogs of Law.
Mm-hmm.
You had Ryan pitch you
An
Honest Woman, and you had Sean pitch you Knock and Loose.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Great.
Okay. So what do you want us to? How do you want us to go through this?
You can break it down if you want as to why you might or might not choose those particular pieces to come up with do a proper X Factor, MasterChef, a Great British Bake Off style.
Do you want to go first?
Or should we go film by film and talk about?
Let's go backwards.
Okay,
Knock
great.
and Loose.
I quite enjoyed the idea of that. I thought it was quite fun. It was quite different. I think that kind of awkward thick of it, almost mockumentary style filming is very kind of on trend.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy watching that kind of thing. I thought it was well pitched. I enjoyed that. I mean, it was a long pitch, but
it was long. You
should get penalised for that.
I had to put my food in the bin to get another plate. I did like the idea, and I do love that kind of style. The whole Greek thing's done quite a lot for me.
It's done a lot in the 60s.
Yeah, like the whole ancient Greece and all that kind of stuff. I think the key for me is a couple of questions. Where are you setting it? I think is a question.
So it's going to be set in a huge sort of shard type sort of tower block, and each sort of block has a different Greek god department in it. And then the Romans are coming in to take over this block. It's a merger, and they're taking over. So they're instituting their own gods in place of the other Greek gods. But of course, that's all going to be in the light-hearted side of it. You know, we're going to play on sort of office mergers and things like that. So it's going to be set on Mount Olympus, but in this massive tower block on Mount Olympus, basically, where they tower, possibly on a cloud, where they tower over the rest of the beings below.
Yeah.
This is sounding quite high budget. I'm not going to lie.
It feels quite high budget, and also I don't think Olivia Colman's available. So basically, you're going to need
Dionysus out.
You are going to need her for this. I think for me, really, I think that. Well, should we come back to that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's come back to that. So, An Honest Woman.
I know you didn't like this.
I mean, there is. I like the idea. There is a reason. You know, we don't see a lot of European folktale out there. I'll have to say. I do like the idea that the leads are women. That's really nice. We see so many men on screen, so it is nice to and I think Olivia Colman would be available for that one. I do like that. I do like the idea of the setting because we do love Europe. So and I often feel that the countries can be like characters in their own way. So I do like the European, but
the Del Toro involved could be quite interesting, couldn't it?
Could, yeah. For me, that fell a little flat, though. I wasn't. What did you think?
Yeah, I think I'd need to know more about it. I think a more extended. Yeah, I find it hard to buy into in that.
Can you give us the tagline part of it again? Can you just but give it a little bit more energy this time, and maybe like
So I tell you what, maybe I'll
don't
read
eat so much whilst you're talking to us.
Maybe I'll read Sean's tagline rather than Sean's transcript. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the log line based on the transcript. Yeah.
Let's have that then.
A gothic romance that starts traditionally as a romance but then gives you the old Hitchcock bait and switch and changes main characters and tones into more of a folk tale and an allegorical fantasy film where two women take precedence in the forefront of the story. In a typical Del Toro Aronofsky fashion, An Honest Woman merges some of the floaty, heady topics that we're used to while playing around with the idea of folklore and monsters. Are they just monsters, or are they figments of their imagination?
I think it's niche, which I don't mind. And it's now that time, I'm seeing the Van Helsing thing coming through, so I'm seeing that kind of getting a good following.
I think it depends who you attach. I think the casting is 100%.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it necessarily mainstream films. It might be like Netflix could be interested in this, Amazon Prime, that kind of development. What do you think?
Sure.
Sure. Sure, why
That's
not?
no.
To know from me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how. I think it's a little B-side in terms of its commercial
I
ability.
disagree. I think it depends on who you attach casting wise for that as to where that would sit. If you look at something like Cabin in the Woods, for example, which is very kind of, yes, it has a cult following, but it's also now a mainstream B movie. I think it all depends on how it's pitched and how it's marketed and who you get involved in that. I think it could be a really interesting film.
Okay.
And the woman-led drama, I'm really
do like the
into,
woman-led drama. Definitely like that. Dogs of Law, I loved. I love a good animal film.
Okay.
I personally.
This is not for me.
You could have your cats in it though, Rosie.
Yeah.
I really don't enjoy voice-overed animals.
It's not voiceover. It's silent film.
It's a silent film.
So they don't even
They don't
talk.
speak.
Yeah.
You have the cats on there doing something, and then it goes, "Oh, I wish I didn't knock that milk off." I haven't done a good pitch there.
I wish I didn't knock the milk
off. It's that face again.
Yes.
It's fine.
For me, I think the pitch on it was I think the tagline was much better than the pitch. So the tagline really had me. I was really in on that, and then the pitch did lose it slightly. And
God, you don't pull any fucking punches, do you?
They're brilliant. The thing was, the tagline had done all the work.
It had.
For me. I had nothing to do. I just wanted to sit and chat.
I sort of left it there, to be
basically.
honest with you.
Yeah.
I think that I really liked it, and I loved the challenge. Or I'd love the challenge of something like that, of casting the animals for that. So, but I suppose we have to try and pick a winner.
You can only really find out more about one of the ideas, yeah. So if you need to know more about one of them, or if something's going to be the decider, or if one strikes it out as more than the others, then that's the one that has to go through for this
That's
one.
the one that's to go, and you have 3.5 minutes to decide.
Yeah,
You want to go with that one?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you love this.
I did love it, but I think that's going to be a solo project, and I think that's kind of like I always think if I die, will Rosie still enjoy casting this?
No.
And I think you wouldn't enjoy that. So, Dogs of Law is a no. I'm sorry, Dan.
I'm okay.
You had my win on
I'm
that.
okay with that. Yeah.
So it's between Honest Woman and Knock and Loose. I think we're going to go for Knock and Loose.
Are you happy with that?
I think so. I want to hear more about Knock and Loose.
Okay. It has a lot of scope, I think, and I'm hoping to open it up to the other two as well, because I'm sure you two have some good ideas.
You've
It's the writer's
absolutely
room.
pitched it completely the opposite way from Daria, so that's fine. It's good.
I just gave it my own spin. I had to get it greenlit. Now once it gets greenlit, we can do whatever.
Now
we
it's
like.
in the room. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
wonderful. So we've got Knock and Loose going forward. That's very exciting. Thanks for that. Okay, so Ryan, start the timer, and Dan will be pitching his next idea.
Okay, I will spin the wheel, James. Or Rosie, would you like to make a ridiculous noise
Yeah,
for this
sure.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I will have your noise now, please. Perfect, like a little wheel. Dan, you have your own winning idea. You have, so it's a little bias. You have episode 8, Fence.
Okay. Let's see if you can do it justice, Dan.
Yeah, I want justice for this one. Okay, so the logline, I'm going to try and... The thing is, the logline quite often does a very good job, but the logline says FENCE, or FENCE, stands for the First English Network for Crime Fighting Education. British metahumans, or superhumans, if you will, in a TV show where each story takes a different and disparate tone revolving around this young adult-type school. Metahumans are beings contacted by other young people to support other young people in stories about young people. In the whole north, south, east and west of Britain, we're finding all these disparate, non-linear worlds that are colliding at certain points where different directing styles or art styles or even styles of cinema are all meshed together in what is unquestionably about seeing Britain as the absolute melting point that it is.
Your time...
I'm definitely going to need to pitch this, aren't I?
Your time starts now.
Hey again. I've just had a chat with Andrew. He's doing really well, isn't he?
Great.
Really well.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I sang some of the Cinderella to him because I think maybe I'm in with a shot actually.
All right. Sean and Ryan were here earlier. Actually, I don't know if you've
Were they?
seen
We
them.
don't.
Yeah, they're here.
I mean, I try and I've stayed out of that, to be honest. It's
Right,
all a bit
okay.
awkward. So I'm just kind of on it on both sides.
Sure.
Yeah, we don't talk about it. So look, I've had a bit of time off in lockdown, and I've come up with a wicked idea. So love comics. I love sort of superheroes. I know the MCU's big and everything. I don't know. Have you seen the Umbrella Academy? I don't know if you've seen it.
No.
Anyway, I've got this massive idea, right? So the idea is that we've got these. It's a British production of a British TV series, basically, that's absolutely British. So we got the idea is that these young people, metahumans, they've all got a small superpower, right? Bit like Heroes, bit like X-Files. Each episode is its own thing, and we meet a new young person who gets contacted because they've got a superpower. And basically the idea is we see each British city via these superheroes. So there'll be like a Liverpool episode, a Birmingham episode, a Leeds episode, like a Norfolk episode, Devon episode, some Cardiff episode, and there's a different superhuman in each of these places. And that we'll look at some of the things that have been going on in the UK. So maybe we'll do like a Grenfell type reflection. And the idea is that we use up and coming young British actors. So not only established British actors, I was thinking like Letitia Wright, Florence Pugh, Daniel Kaluuya, Millie Bobby Brown, sort of to get the big names in. But then we allow sort of brand new British actors to come in and be given a moment. And sort of the first series is about finding all these new heroes. And then we take that story forward as we go through. Well, I can see it as a 7th season. Do you know what I mean? Like I genuinely I believe in it. And each... Thanks, Rye. Yeah, I'll just be there in a second. And each episode, I got this dream that it's sort of filmed by a whole different unit. So you have a different director, different DOP, different like audio editing, so that you can truly capture each city. Do you know what I mean? And we put a runner to make sure the story arc's all good. Actually, hang on. I think Andrew's asked me to come back and do a duet with Carrie, so I'll be back in a minute. But yeah, think about it because I'm really proud of that one.
Yeah.
See you later.
Right, nice to see you.
Very, very good.
Very
Let's
nice.
move on to our next picture, which will be me. Rosie or James, I'll have a noise starting now.
Ping pong, 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 P.
Very nice. I have episode 12, Merry Hell. So I will read you out what the logline synopsis is. I realise actually Sean has sort of done this. Sean has sort of written this logline exactly like he wouldn't remember what it is, and also had to put something in for himself as well in this logline. So, Merry Hell. A low-budget cult classic sports film about quarterback Hell Merry, who makes a deal with the devil for the best throwing arm in the world. Despite being a bargain bin VHS film, it captures audiences with high school antics as Hell Merry's arm starts to become possessed, killing a wide receiver, and ultimately he uses it to kill the devil, resulting in his arm being claimed by the god himself. A Hail Mary being an American football terminology for a last-minute, desperate throw that could potentially win a game. So Sean's obviously taken that last bit straight out of Wikipedia. And
So I liked the pitch and thought, this is great. And what's interesting about this one is, Anthony, he pitched us an idea that was good, and then as the last bit he goes, I've got another idea, but it's probably not going to be very good, and it just lit up the room, as it were, and we all really loved this as an idea. We all sort of like our eyes lit up, and then we were like, okay, this is actually the winner. So it was like his bonus idea, and I liked it anyway. And then at the end of the pitch, everybody explained to me that a Hail Mary is that's like a last ditch throw, which I know nothing about sports. I had no idea about that. So even without that affectation, I liked it. So that's the story of Merry Hell. But I'll let you do your pitch.
all right, I'll start my timer now. James, here's the last vegan sausage roll.
Thank you.
How about I trade you for it for another pitch, right? Because I got this another great idea.
Wait a second. Wait. Do I get a vegan sausage roll? Or...
Well, I mean, like the thing is, you guys are in a relationship, right? You should be
no.
sharing everything together.
Oh,
No, you
it
don't
started
understand.
badly.
I just have to give it to her. So Anyway, I think you've got like
Exactly like
45 seconds now.
Exactly
so,
like I'm about to give you this pitch, right? Because of the success of things like QB1 and Last Chance U, right? American football shows are absolutely on the rise, right? I think there hasn't been anything about a quarterback since the Vincent Papale story, Invincible, starring Mark Wahlberg, right? So we're due another American football film, and I've got this ridiculous idea about a film called Hail Mary, about a guy who called Hail Mary, who basically asks for sells his arm to hit the best throwing arm in American football, and he just starts throwing these amazing balls, and it basically means that but the arm becomes possessed and it starts killing, it starts doing these crazy things. And like the championship game, he throws the ball. Old Ray Liotta plays the devil, and he says, I've come to get your bargain. And this guy's like, no more. And he throws the ball and kills him. And then the arm gets claimed by the Lord. It doesn't have to be the Lord. It can be like a deity, But I think this idea of like struggle, it also has a very deep undertone about the way that people have to perform in college sports, and the way that they have lovely cat, the way they have to perform in college sports, and they're sort of always hunting after that, and that you're almost willing to sell your soul to make it. All right, I'm going to go now. I'll leave you guys to that.
Good pitch.
Interesting. I feel like it's
Ryan's
biased
good
as
at
Ryan has
pitching.
the timer
He's really
as well,
good
though,
at pitching.
It's
doesn't
already
it? If he has
casted though. Ray Liotta's in it apparently. So
Well, we can talk about that.
yeah, we can talk about that.
So we only have one title left, but if you both would just like to make a ridiculous noise at the same time, and I can spin the wheel
that
to just
feels
get the last
harmonious, doesn't it?
one. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, I'll have it from both of you now.
Ting, 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 ting.
Perfect. Sean, you are left with the last film, which was episode 7, Canned Laughter.
Yes. So this was the first one we did when we came back from the first Adjudicator heat that we did. So it was a long time ago now. And I remember at the time doing a terrible job explaining what it was. So I'm going to do an even worse job trying to pitch it. So I'm going to apologise to Ali, Bill, who won that episode, for how badly I'm going to do this. The logline or synopsis is starting in a dystopian future of The Handmaid's Tale meets The Island. A young woman's world collapses when a door opens and you find her in this completely different world. She's been tricked, and now it's more inspired by The Village and The Truman Show. We move through genres as a send-up of Hollywood. It's an examination of the manipulation of canned laughter itself and the whole idea of canned laughter. And it evolves to have epic fight scenes and gruesome moments. It says something about the way we connect with media and the way we are seen by Hollywood, and there is real depth in there, both wonderful and surprising. Surprising to me, because I can't remember what those depths are. So
Sean, your time starts now.
Cheers, Andrew. Yeah, yes, of course I'll send you Canned Laughter. Of course I'll send it to you. You can turn it into a musical. Work your magic.
Sean, great timing. I need another drink actually. So good to see you. How you doing?
Yeah, good. You asking me to go and get it?
That'd be really great if you could. That'd be really nice.
I tell you what, I will, but I don't want to give the bartender this fantastic idea. One that Andrew is obviously going to turn into a musical, and you want to get in there as well, don't you? I mean, listen. Why don't you have this drink? I've only had a couple of sips.
Sure.
So it's a sort of dystopian thing, but I was really interested in the idea of canned laughter itself. We were developing this script. What if you take a sort of Black Mirror sort of idea and spin it into a film, this dystopian sci-fi film where people are subjected to certain sort of horrifying and weird and interesting experiments in order to elicit noises and responses from them. These noises and responses are then captured, and this is actually how Hollywood produces and creates their canned laughter and their different sound effects for their sitcoms. So it's sort of this weird Black Mirror alternative world. And it's a female main character who then bursts out halfway through the movie to find that she's been tricked, and she's in the real world, as it were. And you then have this like La La Land type trip through all the different eras of Hollywood as she goes from set to set and place to place. There's some fight scenes in it, of course, as well, and it's quite sort of like an epic action movie in the end. A little bit like The Island, something like everyone remembers The Island, everybody's favourite Michael Bay movie. So yeah, anyway, listen, I've got to get back to Andrew because he's actually optioned this. He's thinking about turning it into a huge show. I thought I might give you first refusal on it. So, but I'll get you that drink now. It was a triple vodka, was it? Your usual, a triple vodka?
If just anything really that will take you away from me. Would be great.
It'll take the edge off of that pitch. So that's canned laughter. So
this is how they talk to people all the time.
This is how they got to where
What's
they got
wonderful
to.
is we're actually always really nice, so it's nice to be a little bit evil. And do you know
I'm
what's-
saying that
what's
I'm
really
laughing
interesting?
with them
While you're
because
saying-
otherwise they'll hurt me.
But whilst you're saying that, I'm here stroking my cat in true Bondesque sort of style. Brilliant, carry on. Love it.
Yeah, so it falls to you now. You have Ryan. Just refresh the Pearsons for us, please. What they have to choose from. Their winner
Absolutely. Dan pitched you episode 8, Fence. I pitched you episode 12, Merry Hell. And Sean pitched you episode 7, Canned Laughter.
Great. Go on, you start with the last one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I actually really liked Canned Laughter up until the La La Land reference, and then it was going to become an action film. But
Moonlight. Did I say La La Land? I meant Moonlight.
Right. I mean, but
That happens.
I did really. I actually went. I think it's actually the best pitch of the whole group. I actually started to visualize things in that, so I really did like it. I definitely have questions that I would like to ask about that one. So what did you feel about that?
I love a dystopian drama, and I thought some really original ideas in that. I wasn't sure when the fight scenes came in and the action side lost me a little bit, but I'm not ruling it out.
I think we stop it before La La Land.
Yeah,
if we stop
always.
there, he should have gone to get the drink then, I think. So that one's definitely on the cards. Merry Hell, although I'm a huge American football fan,
Nice.
I mean, I would have switched that off after the first 5 minutes. Actually, I would switch it off like at about 15 minutes in when I realised that he's going to start killing people with his super arm. So that one really didn't grab me. I don't know. What
I
about
thought
you?
it would grab you more because of the American football thing. We love Friday Night Lights and all of those.
Yeah, I
I
love
should have referenced Friday Night Lights.
Love that.
I was like TV shows. What can I go for? I only managed to
Is it
pull
kind
out Invincible.
And he's sort of already cast it
It's the
with Ray Liotta.
supernatural element you don't like. What is it about Ray Liotta?
I love Ray Liotta, but if he's attached to
Who would you cast
project-
instead? Who was Ray
as-
Liotta, the devil, in this?
Yeah.
Who
the
would be
devil.
a better devil?
Specifically
he's-
old Ray Liotta.
I think he's actually
Oh.
I love that. I think he's actually a really good choice. I think he's really nice. But then man, I'd love to see maybe a woman in that role. As the devil rather than it being a man, and maybe not someone very obvious in that.
I feel like Olivia Colman's free,
Colman.
isn't she?
Absolutely, Olivia Cole would be great in the role as the devil. But yes, so maybe even going younger on it, so it's a real kind of comes out of nowhere. Somebody like Michaela Cole out of I May I Destroy You. Somebody like that. So rather than the obvious older man kind of thing, who's
I think you need to be very careful casting the devil as a woman against a young,
Too close to real life,
fresh.
isn't it? I mean,
That's the face again,
my
Rosie. That's
fiance,
the
I love
face.
you. I love you. She's in the other
No, I
room.
think
I'm
no.
obviously
For me, it's
joking,
not.
obviously.
It doesn't have to be a woman. I just think that I think Ray Liotta is a wonderful actor. It's an obvious choice. He's got the laugh. He's got the face. Whereas if suddenly like Michaela Cole came out and was like the devil and caught you by surprise, I think
So
that'd be quite
the
interesting
thing
take.
about this pitch just was that it was very much pitched as like a Z movie, like a VHS
fail,
bin,
yeah.
like the way that
Yeah.
60% of Michael Madsen's films.
Yeah.
yeah. Something quite cheap,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, but like wonderfully cheap.
Definitely, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's not something that grabs me from the off as something that I would want to get involved with. But I'm not saying it would be a bad film. It's just not. It's not exciting me.
FENCE. I really liked. I know Rosie hates a superhero film.
No, I think a lot of them have just not been done very well. And
I'd love it if there was no CGI involved.
No, the idea is that they're not actually super powered. So they've all got like mini powers. Like one of them was
Like typing.
Like he's fire resistant, so he'd become a fireman.
Right.
But he didn't realise that he was doing so well because he's fire resistant.
So, a bit like is it Unbroken? No.
Yeah, a bit like Unbreakable.
Unbreakable. Where he doesn't realise that he can't.
Yeah.
Hurt.
So they all have, and then they get contacted. And I can't tell you any more because that's what we do a little bit later. But,
I love the idea of doing something in Britain. I love the British writing and production teams, young but unknown casting. I think that would excite me to cast that. But I also like the third one as well, Can Laughter.
So can I ask a question about Can Laughter? I guess to sort of help the laughter. Is it almost like people are in purgatory with the laughter? Is that where so it's like you're in a world that's not this world and you're part of that laughter, and then explain that a little bit.
That's a good question, because when it was first pitched, it did have it was a real place.
She was locked,
but the whole thing had a sense of whimsy or a sense of otherness about it, didn't it? It felt. The whole thing had a sort of like slightly unusual twist, but it was a real place, wasn't it?
It was essentially
they
were inside. Yeah, it was like a prison where they were being given different responses to laugh, cry, like it flashes up on screen, and then it's about this woman who manages to break out of that, and when she breaks out, it breaks out basically onto a Hollywood studio lot. So it's been this horrible, like very like stainless steel and white pristine sort of building, and you think it's a complex, and then it's about her trying to break those people out basically.
And then she hears her own laughter on a show. She realizes sort of what she was being used for, and sort of that sort of side of things.
I really like that one. I think we're big on. Every cast it is, but we love finding new undiscovered talent, don't we?
Yeah.
So I think it's got to be Fence for us.
Okay.
Very
All
nice.
good choices, but you've made a good choice. So yes, because Dan needs a win, don't you, Dan?
We need a win.
We've been starting the hashtag Dan was robbed, because every time he comes this close.
I come up with the best idea, but obviously other people have to win. Is basically what happens. So
yeah, that's same here.
So before we pitch the two ideas that have been whittled down by the Pearsons to the Pearsons, before we workshop it for them to adjudicate on which one is the winner of today's episode, Ryan and Dan and I are just going to go over how the wild cards work.
As far as I understand, Sean, what we're going to do is at a periodic point, we're not quite sure whether it'll be halfway or at the very end, we're going to take the listeners' two favourite pitches that didn't make it through, and we're going to submit them as wildcards straight into the final, which means that if you get on there and voting and make a loud enough noise, your favourite, one of mine, might make it into the final. I believe that's how our wild cards work.
Yes, Thank you for that, Dan. And it wasn't because I forgot or didn't know. I just wanted to hear your voice. That's wonderful. So we really want to hear from you guys, because by the end of the series, 4 will have whittled down via our heats and our adjudicators. But to make it 6, we're going to put 2 in that you guys connect to. So, just before we get started on pitching you guys the final 2 ideas as a workshop, I wanted to ask you how working as a husband and wife team works for you, because a lot of people listening will likely be working from home. They're either on furlough or they're in their loved one's space a little bit more. So I wondered how that works for the 2 of you.
Yeah, I mean, we're used to it now, aren't we?
I mean,
Aren't
yeah,
we?
before
He says with a question mark in his voice.
before we started the business together, we were working as actors and singers, and we did cruise ships together. And at one point, we shared a cabin that was about 7 by 12 feet for 12 months. And that was our only private space. So I think you work through any major issues you have in those 12 months.
There's only so many times you can slam the bathroom door and then you realise I've got nowhere to go. I'm sort of stuck in a cabin.
in a tiny coffin.
In a tiny
with
coffin.
a toilet in it. So we kind of work through those. And there are teething things, aren't there, at the beginning of a business, and especially when you're married and people say, oh, how do you unwind? And we don't really, do we?
You're always on the clock.
And we've worked out, through trials and tribulation, we lead projects. So one of us will be leading on the project. We both know all the information about each project, but so that then you don't get as much conflict, because you're leading on this, and then we'll ask each other advice on the project, and so on and so forth. And yeah,
I think it's having space, both physical and metaphorical. And I think if you're working from home now and you never have before, make sure you have your individual spaces. So we have an office in the house, but now that we're in here 24/7 for the last 8 months, I basically work at the kitchen table and James has the office, or we swap round. If you're on top of someone else, that's never going to work out, whether you're running a business together or not.
Definitely. And I think also actually go to work. Even if you're stuck at home and you're working from home, go to work. So be like, right, I'll see you for my break at whatever time, or get together at lunch, or not everyone has that ability but try and be in separate rooms or in separate spaces, and then come together and things like that. And we'll always be like, right, what time do you need to work to tonight? And well, I'll have dinner ready at that time, and brilliant, and that's it. And so although we're constantly talking all day, it's work talky, and I think it must be tough for a lot of people, because the most time you spend with people normally is weekends, and that may not be both days, and then annual holiday, and then Christmas, and we all know what Christmas is like. Everyone fights, argues, and falls out. So but
there's this unsubstantiated statistic that I heard about how divorce rates in Japan are most high after retirement. So the company man, or whatever was the tradition in Japan for a long time, would retire, and then they'd spend so much time together that would instigate a divorce.
It's tragic, isn't it? I think it.
But in terms of talking about you guys leading on things, I wonder that we've got Knock and Loose and we've got Fence, right? That's what we were pulled into for the final 2 pitches. I wonder if there's one out of those 2 that one of you feels more strongly on than the other. If there's one that you might lead over the other person.
I think you should lead on Knock and Loose, because you wanted that one slightly more than me.
I see where this is going. Okay.
No, not necessarily.
Where is it going?
No, you lead on Fence then.
No, that's fine. No, you're right. I did out of those 3, it was my
wanted
choice.
The one about dogs.
No, I'll take no. I'll never hear the end of that. I will never hear the end of that. I would take Knock and Loose then, and you would take Fence.
Great.
So feel free to, I don't know if you want to set the tone for us. Where are we meeting you? I don't know if you want to sort of select who we're meeting you at your...
We would meet wherever you were. So we would say we'll come to you as a rule. So that would actually come...
In your office,
or in a pub, or a restaurant, or a cafe.
We could go to a local sort of cafe or something.
Can we go for a meal?
Yeah, we can go for a meal.
There's a nice Eritrean near us.
But make sure it has to be somewhere that's not too sort of formal, because if we don't get on, we don't want to be stuck there in a...
No, maybe sort of brassery feel rather than like a restaurant.
Okay, get a panini and then
that kind of thing. Yeah, we like what's our favourite place on...
Cot.
But on Compton Street.
Café Bohème.
Café Bohème, yeah, we like that place.
Okay.
Nice and
buzzy. Well, why don't we meet there?
Let's meet there.
It's great. It's all central.
Nice.
Also,
you just got to come down from Liverpool.
Café Bohème, not a sponsor. but you could be if you wanted to.
So her house.
So who waits for who usually? Who waits for whom? Would you get there early?
Yes,
would you?
always.
Would you?
Always.
Okay.
Always.
Okay. There's no psychological games to make
no.
us wait
No.
for you.
Oh God,
Okay.
no. And
So we would be turning up late traditionally, I believe.
No, you'd be turning up
You
late.
would
I would
You're
drag
the one that turns
everybody.
up late. And this
Ryan
is why,
and I will be at
this
the
is
bar
why we
having a
had
drink,
this is why
waiting
we
for
had
you.
the falling out for a year.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for these
turning up
pitches and the
The
Pearsons,
fictional falling out. Let's
we
remind
would have
everybody.
not
Yeah.
spoken. So we're all being, because of you two, we've been brought back
Right.
to the cafe as a team, as a unit, to help discuss these two ideas.
Okay.
What
So
would you
yeah,
like to know?
it's good to see you guys again. I remember, God, it was so fantastic talking to Andrew. But
How
and
did
I
that
remember,
go, Sean? Did he pick it up in the end?
well, you know how these things work.
Yeah. Sure.
He's got to weigh up some of his other options, and
I mean, I was talking to
went in
him
a
while I was
different
doing the YouTube with Carrie about the Cinderella stuff. He didn't really mention it.
I heard he turned,
Well, it's
he turned Mary Hell into a musical.
he did.
It seems like his kind of show, though, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
We really should have got points on that, shouldn't we? We really should have. But no
Tap
percentage
dancing
for us.
in cleats,
Yeah.
as it may be.
I'm actually
You know,
gonna
more
write
power
that
to him.
down.
It's a smash. It's a smash. So I mean, we emailed you about this. So, and I'm glad you guys could meet us. So we have those two ideas, and you wanted to know more about them. Knock and Loose and Fence, to decide which one goes forward.
Shall I start
you go
with
for it, yeah,
Knock and
absolutely.
Loose? So just, can we talk about casting a little bit on this? So cast size, do you have people in mind? Is there a list? Is there anyone already attached to the project? I know some other projects have been.
There wasn't anyone attached to the project specifically.
Ray Liotta's not around.
No. The creator of this idea left it incredibly open, but she, obviously, we are playing with certain archetypes, though. So I think because we wanted to stick to some of the traditional Greek gods feeling, we would sort of take their specific gender roles that they have. So Zeus is a guy, Aphrodite's a woman, that sort of thing. And I think in the way, but then the whole thing was that the Romans did change the way that the gods were. So in that, when that comes along and the merger comes along, maybe then we do have a switch.
Maybe the Romans are quite a progressive company, and they think, let's do away with some of these stuffy traditions. Let's come in and like actually open this sort of thing up. And they're very sort of forward planning, and they're very much wanting to open it up. But the Greeks are, stuck in their roles of tradition, these gender roles, these roles of, because they created the rules for all these things. Maybe you butt heads in certain episodes with like Stoicism butts heads with, and it evolves into, because I know Marcus Aurelius was a big Stoic. So you have all that stuff you can build from history and sort of make it funny.
But also, we want it to be like The Office. Yeah. So, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like we want to bring those things, but they're kind of they're the 14-week table sit down. Do you know what I mean? But when we're selling it, it's got to be pretty direct, pretty easy going. So we want our main cast. Really, we're going to be focusing around Aphrodite and Cupid and sort of their argument. And Cupid's going to cause. He's been a bit of a trickster in this particular case, and he's causing Aphrodite to fall in love with people that she shouldn't do and stuff. And that's what's going to bring down the sort of the fall of the gods.
I don't know if you've seen Stathlet's Flats, but there's a Greek British actor that's the writer and creator of that show, so he'll be available to punch up the dialogue and other sorts of things and improvise. If we haven't had the time to deliver anything.
So we're looking at
he's really good, and his sister's Greek as well. So, no. Sorry, you go ahead.
So I'm just asking about: is this going to be British cast? What about production? Where's it being filmed? Like, where is the base for this?
I think maybe you have the British cast, because you can very much mirror like this sort of civil service stuffiness, this sort of thick of it vibe. The Greeks are British and the Romans are American, and they're sort of coming in and co-opting and altering the culture.
I like it, like the English Office meets the American Office.
Exactly,
like that. I get that kind of feel.
That sort of cultural blend.
So, and I guess we want that. So the maybe the older gods, the actual gods, because it's like the Romans aren't really the gods; they're just co-opting there. So maybe the gods are like traditionally more availably beautiful people, and then the cast that are going to come in and take over, they're like, we want them to feel more down to earth, more real, more sort of available for us as people, so that we get that feeling of Do you know what I mean? Like of transposing into a modern world.
To give you an example, Ares in Greek mythology, the god of war in Roman mythology is Mars. So that would be one of the things, like bringing Ares into the room and being like, we're going to give you a rebrand. You're now going to be called Mars. And like, that's the sort of, the actual,
and if you can't do it, then we're going to bring Mars in from head office, and he's going to have to come in and step into the role and take over.
The one thing actually we have been skirting around is that it's got a very, very dark ending. And I think the dark ending was that all of the gods got wiped out. And that's the thing that Sean didn't... Yeah, they all have so much of this infighting that they all kill each other.
Because there's this British tradition, isn't there, of finishing sitcoms in like quite a dark way. If you think of Blackadder, or you think of like in a multitude of sitcoms end in a sort of bittersweet way, because often the characters in there, as Brits as well, we almost feel like they should have some sort of comeuppance for their behaviour. In a way.
I definitely, if you pitch this out... because I'm starting to enjoy it a lot more, and I think part of your pitch should definitely be the Ares Mars thing. That should be an example of what it. Because now I'm like, oh, okay, that's actually quite funny. There's a lot of fun to be had there. Now I'm seeing a lot of fun to be had in other areas. So I'd add that into the pitch.
I think the other thing to keep in that was, Aphrodite in Greek mythology is seen as this, is not just like it's love, but it's birth, it's cycles, it's that sort of belief. And then the Romans obviously just using her as a sex symbol. And I think that's like, she's just the goddess of sex. And it's just like, whoa, that's not what it's about. That's
not what it was about.
Yeah, and so
but the analytics say that this is what people are most likely looking at. So
some guy chiseling on.
We had some good marketing for it as well, didn't we? We had, I think it was like the posters were going to be like different types of social media, so like Tinder bio, Instagram bio, Twitter bio, with the gods in there, with the advertising themselves underneath.
Obviously, do you have any ideas who might be able to play any of those?
That's my next question, actually. Well, for me. Asking me who?
Yeah. I guess that's why we're here, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think it's really important that there's ethnic diversity across all of this casting, that we are not getting stuck in specific sort of tropes around
like Aphrodite is blonde and white and blue-eyed and all that kind of stuff.
And I also think this is a brilliant opportunity to have that mix of maybe the more established actors in kind of the key roles, and then again to bringing kind of up and coming both British and American faces into this to create kind of a really brilliant ensemble. Olivia Colman we can take in.
The creator actually suggested Gugu Mbatha Raw as Aphrodite.
Nice. Okay, lovely. Love that.
It'd be so cool to see American and British actors all in the same room doing like a W1A type room. Do you know what I mean?
And actually doing their own accents. That's always nice.
Yes. Exactly. And so as I was saying before, Jamie Demetriou and Natasha Demetriou are both Greek British descent, and they're both comedians, sitcom comedians and writers. So we'd have them at the forefront of the show as well, because we'd want them to have some sort of Greek connection in the, if we're going for that quite heavily. And I think the Anglo, we're having a conversation about this all being of Asian British or Anglo-Indian descent. There is a gap that we notice in representation for mixed heritage. So it'd be nice to see mixed heritage and where that comes from and how that influences you. So seeing maybe if everybody on the Greek
half
side
Roman, half Greek.
Exactly. So maybe we have a lot of sort of Anglo mixed actors in there, and that's part of the thing we'd want to champion with this idea. I think
definitely
with your help, of course.
Absolutely.
I've ordered the Moules Mariniers. Has anyone else got anything coming?
I'm not going to eat because I'll probably throw it down my front.
I'm just going to drink. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Fine.
I just had one more question. That was who the dream director is for this.
Wow.
That's a great question.
That's a great question.
Would you go British or would you go American? That's the question.
Or Greek.
Or Greek, exactly. Wow, this is not. I mean, we were leaving this open because we were hoping that we could meet with a bunch of directors and have them pitch to us why they feel like they could. I mean, I think everybody knows that the director Steve McQueen, the artist turned director Steve McQueen, he might want to cut his teeth on TV comedy. Maybe he could do it.
John Morton who was he W1A? Was he the director of W1A, John Morton? So I'd like to hear what he could do with it, because it really feels like that kind of style would really work.
Yeah.
And then we could ask Ricky and Steve if they wanted to come in and have a look at whether it would work.
Michael Winterbottom could do
stuff,
the finale or something. We're looking at Michael Winterbottom for the finale. He's got that vibe of taking serious and comedy and giving it his verite style,
See if Curtis wants to come in and do one,
Yeah. So we're leaving it open. We want each episode to have the mark of the director in there as well. So yeah, Richard Curtis maybe is he'd be able to do it.
That'd be the film option, I guess. Sort of the special Christmas special.
He hasn't done anything for a while. He'd want to do TV, I reckon. Now he'd want to jump on the band,
especially with a Netflix budget. That's
exactly,
absolutely,
exactly.
Yeah, it's looking good. Looking good.
Great.
There's just one question on this. So you don't have. Where's your funding sitting at the moment?
It's an unnamed benefactor. And they prefer to keep it that way.
But do you have
with very, very, very deep pockets?
What percentage do you have?
Well, I think we've got
with incredibly deep pockets.
We've got enough to crack through at least a really strong pilot and options to then sell it on. We've got some people in the BBC and on Netflix that we could probably.
We think it'll do well overseas as well. Peacock, NBC's new streaming platform, are looking to add some strings to their bow. So we've got some people over there interested.
Are you up for some of the big actors to be given executive producership so that we can, keep within budget for salaries, things like that?
If we brought Idris Elba in as Zeus, for example,
great cast.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
that's why you guys are here. At this
You're
table.
welcome.
Yeah.
But you can sort of find a lower fee for him potentially and say, listen,
if he's got
we'll give him
in it.
executive
And
producer.
maybe directs a few episodes as well.
Well, there we are.
Yeah, because they always want to do it eventually, don't they? Actors, they always want to direct.
And I think he has
episodes,
started, hasn't he? He started looking.
with Yardy.
That's right.
Of course. Yeah, great. That's a great idea. We're definitely open to that. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So you're comfortable with Knock and Loose? Are you interested in hearing?
I'm much more interested
Fence?
in Knock and Loose. So yeah, thank you. That was much better pitch.
Collectively.
So we've also
No man is an island.
This time, not outside of the house, but on the table, we've also got a fence.
Yeah, nice.
See what I did there?
That was bad.
That was terrible. The fence was the other first English.
Yeah, what did you want to know about that? Because we're very excited about it in terms of being sort of almost like the films of yesteryear. You had your Ken Loach films, you had these films that were, also directors that are underrepresented and places in the north of England that are underrepresented. We really wanted to show these pockets of Britain in a special way.
So I had with the pitch that you gave, and then just having it mulled over in my mind, I started to think of giving it a slight edge to it, and so that it doesn't. And I love that idea that it's a fireman, and they're fireproof, but he doesn't realise and stuff. And how do you do that without it necessarily being that sort of that superhero feel? And I started to think of Shane Meadows as the style.
Literally about to say
that was
Shane
exactly
Meadows.
what we pitched.
This is exactly
that's who
what we
I pitched as a director when we.
That's what
Fence
I directed.
came out.
And that just gives it that.
We're in sync.
Absolute realism. It gives it that realism.
Yeah, for sure.
But one thing that I find a little bit, I don't know, I sit on the fence about is we'll go and find people who aren't actors, and I always feel like that's always a thing for me.
Definitely not what I want to do. I don't want to find people that aren't actors. I want to find new British young talent and give them the opportunity to be able to boost it. So the idea is that each episode is like X-Files, where each episode was sort of contingent of itself, but eventually an overarching story kind of existed. That's what I want to kind of have, so that each episode is and
like
so
an individual.
one episode might have a big
film,
star in it that we know, and so that would be the draw to get in. Like the pilot will definitely have a name, so we can get in on it. But then episode 2 will instantly move to somewhere else in the country, maybe even a slightly different timeline, but we'll have someone else that we're really wanting to promote and really want to promote new British talent. So it's about giving them the opportunity. Then episode 3 would have a star and an unknown.
Amazing. And we know that look, we have to represent the working classes. And so when I say I'm not an actor, I mean the sort of casting that I would look to do on this, I get Rosie's take, is to still go to like, schools that have good drama groups, or I don't mean that they have to go through drama school, but it's that thing of the and I really feel sorry for actors sometimes. They go through all this training thinking they're going the right way, even working class kids who have struggling, they go through even university or whatever it is, and then they go, oh no, we don't want any actors, and you're like, we don't want actors. Well, that someone who's just gone the route they think they're supposed to go. I could have just gone and play football every Saturday. Yeah, exactly. So and because
it's definitely I definitely want to make I want to give the opportunities to the people that really want the opportunities, want to make British television available for them. Do you know what I mean? And really celebrate Britishness.
I like that.
So when they write the episodes, the writers will go to these areas and live in them for a little while, and
we'll get a writer from the area that understands what they're doing. So if we're talking about Birmingham, we'll get a Birmingham, and if it's about a working class Birmingham kid, then we'll get and when I say kid, obviously I mean young adult. We don't because as my wife pointed out, a story about young children that get contacted on the internet that they're special sounds really dodgy.
You might want to say that again.
We're not.
You might want to.
It's a different film. So
you might want to rephrase
you might want to say that again.
We're not
like the C word.
Here's something that we're still tossing up, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. One of the ideas that came through when we were workshopping this was that we would set the backdrop of each of the stories of each of the meta-humans against a large tragedy that's happened within the UK.
Or a significant event that changed the UK in some way. Yeah.
That changed it.
Similar to how The Crown Season 3 and Season 4 seem to be doing that. They seem to be hinging the royal family around significant events.
Well, on that, the other thing that sort of went around in my head as well, and I think you've sort of touched on this, is does it have to be the same era for each episode, or could it be? No. Could it go back? And maybe towards the end of all the episodes, they all there's a scene where they all come together, and then they're different ages. So if you wanted to do that, you do Hillsborough disaster, and you've got everyone on there, or not necessarily that, but you've just mentioned disasters and things, and you get Luke Barnes from Liverpool to write that, and so on. And then you talk about it could be Manchester bombings, if you're looking at big, but that's a different era and stuff. But then eventually,
or even like Liverpool's capital of culture. So if you want to because they had the European capital of culture for a while, so you have that moment in Liverpool.
Exactly. Live Aid. Back in the 80s, so you got what was going on at Hyde Park, and just amazing, and then you have that I don't know, moments there, or I mean just all these, but then they could be that it finalizes, and then when you see them all at the end, these heroes or whatever it is, that they're all actually now different ages, but we saw them around the same age, finding their super heroes.
That's a fantastic idea.
I've just got the 200 IQ, right? Just had the 200 IQ play.
This always comes before a terrible idea.
The point where they all meet is 2012 Olympic opening ceremony. And that's when they're all in London together, and that's celebrating it, and they're all doing different things.
Okay, fair play, he's done it. Yeah, and Danny Boyle directs that.
And for whatever reason, they're all there.
Yeah.
At their different ages, whatever.
Yeah, James, you're very much aligned in our thinking as well, because we were thinking you present these things as they're linear in a way, but then actually you realise it's non-linear, and these things are all coming together. So they're all in different time periods, and they all come together somehow at the end at this school of sorts, and they're all part of this school.
Nice.
So we can take a quick production moment here. Rosie, what do you want to do? Because I know it's coming up to 6.
I have to go. I'm so sorry. I'm doing a Zoom with someone from LA, and it's really difficult to move.
That's okay. Nice.
No, go for it.
Sorry, but James
So-
can pick it up from here, and
Well, James will then have to probably pick a winner.
Oh.
So
and
that
I
feel
will
like
go with whatever his decision is, because both these projects sound fabulous. I'll
They
happily
do.
work on either or both.
And I think we would have had the same ideas on both as well.
Yes, we'll keep that little bit where you're telling us that you're going off to LA. We will absolutely call that. Don't worry. It's
humble
great.
brag. Humble brag.
Straight in, humble brag for Rosie.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been amazing. Thank
was
you.
a
It's lovely
pleasure.
to meet you guys. And sorry I have to.
We're going to miss you because you
Thank you
balanced
so
James out quite well. So now it's he's going to be off the chain now.
He is.
now that
I
you're-
do apologise. I'll try and keep him in check.
But it does mean I won't have to see that face again and feel guilty to my very
Well,
soul.
hopefully we'll be in an
So-
audition room together soon, and then I can give you the face for 8 hours a day.
Well, thank
Rosie
you for
doesn't
joining
like
us,
me
Rosie.
because I get free prep coffees.
Every
That's
time.
why.
Every time. It's like they always fancy you.
I'm keeping that in the show. That is staying in the show.
Oh, it's been so much fun. I'm so sorry I have to rush off.
Thanks, Rosie. No,
Okay.
thank you
Well,
so
pleasure
much
to
for
have
giving
you.
us your time.
Thank you for making the time. Thank you very much.
Love
See
you.
you.
See you.
Right. I'd say Dogs of Law wins. Sorry. Oh, dear.
So, James, what did you have any other questions about Fence or any other points? Because
No, I
I
think-
feel like we're aligned on actually where
and I
the
think
direction of it.
with what's interesting is like I pointed at Shane Meadows and Rosie was like, yes. So I think we very much, and in Idris Elba was like, I was sitting there going, it should be Idris Elba, and we do it all the time. Actually, it's really weird, but we really sort of connect with regards to a very similar. We never fall out over the actual casting of the roles. We'll be like, here are 5 people. Oh, I'd take any of them. They're amazing. We never like, no, it has to be them. So we are very aligned together, which is always really nice. Oh, and here's Mr. Toes. You'll see his tail.
Yeah.
Toast the cat.
Mr. Toes.
She's filling it. He or she. She's filling in. He's filling in for.
Yes,
for Rosie.
he's come for Rosie. Yeah, cool.
He's the real boss.
So okay, so with that in mind, if you're, do we have any other points to make on Fence? I feel like that was pretty well
we
rendered.
hit what we needed to hit, haven't we?
Yeah.
Well, then it just leaves you, James, to select a winner
Right here,
that will go into the
responsibility.
final.
Please feel free to draw this out because Sean does it on actual episodes. Feel free to draw it out as much as possible, and then
I
give
make
us that
everybody
winner.
nervous, and I always pick sort of tell them in a way that makes it think it's going one way, and then it goes the other, which I never mean to do.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
but yeah, so and you can give your reasoning if you like as well.
Definitely.
It's up to you.
Yeah, so actually, I think we've, as I said, Dogs of Law. That's going to win it, right? No, I think we have 2 really interesting projects, and I definitely fell in love a lot more with Knock and Loose as the pitch was better, and sort of I really started to see that as well, and I started to enjoy the ideas that you guys were talking about. I definitely think there is a slight chaos in your minds of how you really see it settled. So is it okay if we just go a little further with it in terms of just settling in? I'm hearing 3 slightly different
You're exactly
Place.
right, James. There are 3
Three
very
completely
different
different
ideas
ideas.
about the same pitch because none of us pitched
I
this.
see. Okay.
Desperately trying to do Daria.
I love
a-
it.
a-
I
a
love it.
service.
So Daria, I'm going to do you a service. I think that, and so the reason that is that with casting, we have to be very definitive in that we're all on the same page from day one. We can't. We can have different people that we would like to have in it, and we can have our own decisions, and we can have our favorites, but we can't have such a disparaging idea of what this. Oh no, I really see it as this type of person playing that type of role, and then I really see that, and so that I would just love a little more clarity on that before I come to my final decision on that one. Fence, I really, really like the idea, and I think it has. I definitely think it has with Knock and Loose. I feel it has a more traditional I can see the way it ends. I can see what episode 3 is like. I can see the arc to episode 5, things like I can see how series 2 would start with the end. They're all gone, but there one still exists, or maybe do you know what I mean? Or now we have new gods, so social media, and so now the gods are Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat, and they all have their moment, and how we kind of as human beings we adhere to these gods now, and making sure that. So I see there's scope of growth through that, and the political side of it. So I definitely see it as not just a one episode, that's that, we did 10, wasn't that amazing, great. I definitely see there's places where you could really go creatively, quite fun, quite interesting with that. I really see that on. And I also see that the same with Fence. However, with Fence, I don't want to see it a second series. Sorry, not episode, series. So I see a second series for the first one. For Fence, I don't know if I want a second series. I know I would want a second series as a viewer, but I feel that I think the creatives on it would be really brave. And I think that they would use up all their braveness within that first series.
Yeah.
And you've seen it, haven't you?
And then you wouldn't want to drag it on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we've all seen it, right? We've all seen those series where you kind of go, oh my God, please make another one. And then they do, and you go, oh no, that was a shame.
Wish you had made another one.
And then the third series, they get new people, and they pick it up again. I think financially the studios would want a second series of Fence, but I think it would be a different sort of. I think you'd have to take it in a very different route.
Be a difficult second album, wouldn't it?
Very hard second album. So that I have to think of as well in terms of like, okay, the longevity of a project, and how that works and who you get in. I also like the idea that with Fence, that you go to a second series and there are no names in it now, because the names are the people from series 1. So we've created those new stars, and they now lead to that second series. So that excites me from a side of casting. With Knock and Loose, now let's say we're in that second series and we're taking it down this kind of avant-garde way of, like, as I say, maybe the gods are social media, and all the churches of all the other religions are now in rubble, and you've got no one follows Allah anymore, no one follows Christian gods or Indian gods, so on and so forth, and so now we're stuck without religion and as a whole, and so now because there are new things to kind of pray to, which people do every day with a selfie. They're praying to whatever their social media got. So I think there's huge scope. So I'm definitely on the fence with both of these, whereas Fence was my favorite coming in. So it's really interesting. Just like, one of you, can you just give me like 45 seconds of cleaning up Knock and Loose for me, and or at least sort of tightening it up a bit?
God, I mean, I don't know who's the best to do this, but I would say Ryan. It's almost like
Ryan, do it
for me. Like
Ryan, do it.
Okay, go on, Ryan.
No, honestly, I believe in you, Sean. But Ryan's very good at doing 45-second pitches, as we've just seen.
I'm going to go with Ryan.
Okay. Knock and Loose is a story that follows Cupid while he is a dog's body in the office of the Greek gods. Their Roman counterparts come in for a merger. This will be a show that shows the tropes of the Greek and the Roman gods, as well as what we are used to in The Office or The Thick of It, and showing how when companies and mergers come through, for example, Ares being turned into the Greek god of Mars and rebranded, what happens not just to everybody else that is experiencing that in the world, but then also everybody inside of that office. It has a very interesting twist and a very dark ending, and leaves itself open to be told in a different way when we celebrate new gods, such as Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp.
Great.
Believers and followers are an interesting parallel, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like they need more believers,
Yeah.
and that's their way of staying popular as gods,
Yeah.
as they fight to be relevant
So
in today's day and age.
I think that was really good. I really appreciate that, Ryan. Thank you so much. And I think I have a winner. And I think that it's commercialism, interesting story, and commercialism, so meaning more financial reward for all of us, over something that is again very commercial, great storytelling, but it has its finite place. And because I think the way we are, I think it has to be fence. I think I like the finite idea.
You did a Sean.
I think
you made it sound like you were going for one idea and you went for the other.
I think I like that fence. I see it as one series. It's an absolute out of the park series. I think the scope, and I love the idea that maybe they're not superheroes at all. They have nothing. It's just their people. But you don't discover that till later, maybe. And it's just they did something extraordinary that made them
they're superheroes to their fellow man and women.
Exactly.
Right? That's
without
their fellow
even realizing it themselves.
Yeah.
So they go into those burning buildings, but it's their courage that is their shield rather than actually, they don't melt.
That is a better pitch than we gave to you, that you gave back to us. So yeah, so that's
it's fence for me. Amazing.
So James, thanks for that. That was fence. It was Dan's idea for fence. So we cannot say Dan was robbed anymore because you were definitively.
No. We have to put hiatus of Dan was robbed, and then when this goes into the final. And if it does or doesn't get picked, robbed, then it can be robbed.
Yeah, that's true.
Brilliant.
But yeah, so commiserations to everybody who put their ideas into, and from each episode as well in this quarter.
I have to interrupt. I think there's some fantastic pitches in there. I think there's the ones that you brought out to here really, really great, really, really interesting.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I mean, every single one of our episodes, every single idea is good. Even the ones that Dan comes up with 2 minutes before we go live. we all know how he works. And Ryan, of course, is duping, we call it. So what that means is that during every episode, he hears the title at the very start of the episode, along with the listeners, and has only that hour or so to actually come up with his idea.
Yeah.
And he
So I've got a co-host ask questions and formulate an idea at the same time.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So one of those things gives, which is probably why your ideas haven't gone through. No, it's a mammoth effort, and so Daria, interestingly enough, and I think this should just be mentioned now. She was the dupe. It's the first time we've had a guest duping. She duped Knocking Loose, so she came up with that sort of on the fly, as it were. So really impressive to get down to the
final of Heat 2.
And to be put up against Fence, and both really, really strong. They're all really strong ideas today. You're right, James. But yes, Fence just pipped Daria to the post.
It was
that will go through.
That was a bad pun.
To the post.
What?
But
because of the fence.
Post.
I wasn't even thinking about that. Accidental pun. That's good. I'm impressed by that. So I mean, if you disagree or agree with anything that has been said today, you know where to find the Pearsons, and you can level all of your complaints to them. But otherwise, we have social medias at Slash Dupe. You can Ryan, where can people get a hold of us?
So you can find us on all social media at Slash Dupe. That is going to be a Facebook page, a Twitter, and Instagram. We've got / Slash Dupe for Reddit, and a Patreon as well.
Yeah, great. And
actually, one other thing which I'm finally able to say as a podcaster, but now on Spotify, you can flick the bell icon and get notified when new episodes come out. So
So just flick the bell,
just
everyone.
Flick the bell because it's a slider. So what else are you supposed to do? I can't say slide the bell.
James, is there anything you got coming up or that you want to promote?
Love to tell you about a show we're producing.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, cool. We are venturing into a bit of producing. We've produced a few things in the past, but not theatre. And through lockdown, prior to lockdown, we were asked to cast a one-man musical called Stay Awake Jake. And we were going to work on that. Then lockdown happened, and then it became a bedroom recording that we were going to do. Anyway, it went on, and we ended up managing to sort of co-pro it and bring teams in and amazing arrangers, and we got a studio that sort of gave time for sort of, I guess, shares in the album, that kind of stuff, and a producer. So we did a full lockdown album recording during lockdown, which was amazing, of Stay Awake Jake. Really special piece. And then we are now taking it to the Southwark Playhouse and doing a live stream. So on the 18th and 19th of December, we'll be doing a live stream of it. It's one actor, it's 1 hour and 10 straight through. And it'll be live on the evening of the 18th. And then we're doing a matinee and an evening on the 19th. On the matinee of the 19th, we're doing a caption performance. So for people that are either deaf or hearing impaired, so we're doing impaired, we're doing a caption performance on the matinee. And you can go on the Southwark website, Southwark Playhouse website, and find Stay Awake Jake. There's actually a few projects going on which are really exciting, and you can get tickets and they're £10 and it's live streamed. So there we go.
That's wonderful. Yeah, we'll definitely tune in for that. Yeah, thanks, James.
No, you're welcome. Thank you for letting me promote it. I'm going to follow you from another account now. So you have an extra follower.
If you have another promotion, do you have another account you can follow us from?
That's what he's saying. He's going to do that from Stay Awake Jake.
I'm going to follow from everything. Oh, we're also working on another project, but that's next year, and it's a ghost play, actually. Maybe we should
What is a ghost play?
It's like a ghost story.
I see.
Yeah, and so it hasn't been done for a long time. Yeah. It's called The Withering. And socials, Stay Awake Jake, at SAJ the musical, Stay Awake Jake, and then Withering _ for The Withering, and it's an awesome piece. So we are producing a workshop of that for next year.
Woohoo!
So that'll be a wonderful thing to experience with friends and family just shortly on the lead up to Christmas. So we have in 2 weeks we have our Christmas episode dropping, which we've never done a Christmas episode before. We're very excited. We're going to play with the format again, so it's a little bit of what you know and love about Slash Dupe, and then we're taking some inspiration for some classic and popular Christmas titles. So that will be so watch out for that. That'll be very exciting. And then afterwards, for Christmas, we'll be taking a 2-week hiatus. So that'll be 4 weeks in total. So we'll take a month off, and then we'll be coming back
to normal.
Back to normal with our third quarter of the season.
I'll definitely listen into the Christmas one. We love a Christmas movie.
Well, you'll be very
might not love these,
surprised with
James.
what I have planned.
What's your favourite Christmas movie?
You have to listen to the episode of Slash Dupe to find out.
Oh,
that's a good question.
Nice.
That's not fair.
Well, it will make sure you actually do listen to it, James.
I'll
Is
tell
what it's
you
going
what.
to do. So,
Yes, definitely.
Do you take the alternative ideas of Christmas movies as one of the things we're discussing? You know, Die Hard, is that a Christmas movie or not? You know, for example.
If you don't think it is, I can't speak to you. Of course,
that's the exact same
it's a
line I
Christmas
use.
movie.
Yes, I should think so.
Has to be one, yes. But I like Christmas with the Cranks. That always gets me right there at the end.
Spoilers.
So that's one of my faves. The Grinch, of course, wonderful.
Yes.
The Grinch.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, this was quite an exciting episode. I'm really happy with all of the ideas, and I'm always happy when an idea goes forward. And I feel sorry for them because one day they're going to turn into a trailer. So that's going to be terrible.
I should have pushed if I remembered that bit. Merry Hell. I want to see the trailer of Merry Hell. You should do it anyway. I think you should make it anyway.
If we get enough support on social media, if we get enough people showing their support, their fans,
and enough Patreons that they can fund another trailer,
then that's definitely something we'll consider working into our schedule. So, James, thank you so much for being here. And the other half of Pearson casting, Rosie, who had to leave for an LA Skype call. No big deal.
This is a very special episode because this marks the halfway point of season 1 of Slash Dupe. So we have just, to quote, take that, there's a road going down the other side of that hill, and we are about to be on it.
I love that you can quote take that. I mean, that's just
wonderful. This will release on the day we first recorded the first episode.
It
wow.
will. So,
and that was unintentional
some kind of beautiful poetry.
Yeah. So thank you for being a part of this, James.
Thank you.
And we and good luck with all your endeavours. And we'll everybody keep an eye out for Pearson casting. So thanks James, thanks Rosie, Dan and Ryan. Stay safe. Have a good Christmas.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
all soon.
Recorded in the Canapés Studios 2020. What's up, Danger?